Here's a question. If you could see your entire future, every moment from now until you die, would you change anything? Would you avoid the pain if you knew it was coming? Or would you live it anyway? Keep that question in mind, because it's at the heart of what happens to Louise Banks. Louise is a linguist. That's important. Because linguists understand something most of us don't think about. Language doesn't just describe reality. It shapes how we perceive reality. The words we use determine what we can think. And that's going to matter more than you realize. The story begins with what looks like memories. We see Louise with her daughter, Hannah. We watch Hannah grow up. Birthdays, first days of school, teenage years. Then we watch Hannah die from a terminal illness. It's heartbreaking. Louise loses her daughter, and we assume this happened in her past. She's a grieving mother trying to move forward with her life. But here's what you need to understand. Those aren't memories at all. They're something else entirely. We just don't know it yet. So Louise is teaching linguistics at a university. Her classes are sparsely attended. It's a quiet life. Then one morning, everything changes. 12 massive alien spacecraft appear around the world, just hovering. Montana, Pakistan, Venezuela, Sierra Leone. 12 locations, 12 ships, no explanation. The military shows up at Louise's door. They need her expertise. She once helped them translate a Farsi recording, so they know she's good. But this time, the stakes are infinitely higher. They need her to communicate with aliens, to figure out why they're here, to determine if humanity is safe or facing extinction. Now, most sci-fi stories would hand-wave the communication problem with a universal translator or some convenient technology. But this film does something smarter. It asks, how do you actually talk to beings who don't think like us, who might not even experience time the way we do? Louise flies to Montana. The ship hovering there is unlike anything in human experience. Smooth, dark, massive. Every 18 hours, a doorway opens at its base. That's humanity's window. Those brief moments when humans can enter. She meets Ian Donnelly, a theoretical physicist. They're paired together because they approach problems differently. He sees the universe through mathematics. She sees it through language. They're going to need both perspectives for what comes next. They enter the ship. Inside, physics bends. Gravity shifts. They walk up what becomes a wall that becomes a floor. Through a transparent barrier, they see two beings emerge from mist. 7-limbed creatures. Enormous. Moving with clear intelligence, but in ways that don't match earthly biology. Ian names them Abbott and Costello. It's easier than confronting what they represent. Proof that humans aren't the center of the universe. That Earth is just one small note in an incomprehensibly vast symphony. Here's where it gets interesting. Communication begins simply. Louise shows them a whiteboard with the word human written on it. The aliens respond by creating circular symbols in the air. Logograms that look like smoke given structure. Beautiful, complex. Each symbol is a complete thought. A full idea compressed into one image. This is crucial. Their writing isn't linear like ours. English goes left to right, one word after another, marching forward in time. Subject, verb, object, past, present, future. We're locked into sequential thinking because our language is sequential. But the alien language? It's circular. Past and future exist simultaneously in their grammar. There's no before or after. There's only all at once. And here's what Louise starts to discover. When you learn a new language deeply enough, it changes how your brain works. This isn't science fiction. This is real linguistics. The language you speak literally shapes what thoughts you can have. Learn a new language. Gain new ways of thinking. So Louise spends weeks learning their language, day after day, building vocabulary. Human, Louise, Abbott, Costello. Simple concepts bridging an impossible gap. And the more she learns their language, the more she thinks in their language. And the more she thinks in their language, the more something strange starts happening to her. Those visions of Hannah, they're getting stronger, more detailed, more certain. But they feel different from normal memories. They have a quality she can't quite name. What's happening, and she doesn't fully understand this yet, is that learning the alien language is rewiring her perception of time. She's beginning to experience time the way they do, non-linearly, all at once. Meanwhile, the global situation is deteriorating. When Louise asks the aliens what they want, they present a symbol she translates as offer weapon. China's team translates their aliens' message as use weapon. You can imagine how that goes. Fear spreads. Nations prepare for war. Pakistan and Sudan ready their militaries. Russia cuts communications. Louise argues the translation is wrong. Context matters enormously in any language. The symbol could mean tool or gift, something offered, not something threatening. But fear doesn't care about nuance. Fear wants simple answers. Some American soldiers, terrified and convinced they're being patriotic, plant a bomb in the Montana ship. Louise and Ian enter one more time, unaware. The aliens give them one final message. Massive, complex, beautiful. Then one of the aliens, Abbott, ejects them from the ship just before the explosion. They're knocked unconscious. The ship moves higher, out of reach. When Louise wakes, Ian has discovered something critical in the final message. The symbol for time appears throughout, and the message occupies exactly 1/12 of the available space. You see where this is going? The complete message is divided among all 12 ships. The aliens want humanity to cooperate, to share information globally, to work together as one species rather than competing nations. But China won't wait. General Shang issues an ultimatum. The aliens have 24 hours to leave or face attack. And this is the moment when everything Louise has been experiencing comes into focus. A vision hits her with perfect clarity. She sees herself 18 months in the future at a UN gala celebrating successful first contact. General Shang approaches her. He thanks her for changing his mind on that critical day. He shows her his private phone number, and he tells her exactly what convinced him to call off the attack. She phoned him and told him his wife's dying words, words only his wife could have known. If you're captivated by where this is going, hit that like button. Now let's see how Louise saves the world with knowledge she shouldn't have yet. Louise is suddenly back in the present. She finds a satellite phone. She dials a number she's never learned, a number that exists in her future but not her present. General Shang answers, confused, wary. In Mandarin, a language she will learn months from now, Louise repeats his wife's final words. War doesn't make winners, only widows. Silence. Then Shang calls off the attack. He announces China will share all their research with every nation. The other countries follow. Humanity chooses cooperation. The 12 ships depart, leaving behind their gift. The language itself. Because here's what the aliens understood. Learning their language doesn't just let you communicate with them. It changes how you experience time. It unlocks the ability to see forward and backward, to know the future as clearly as you know the past. Louise stands in that Montana field watching the ships vanish. Ian walks up, his face full of wonder. She looks at him and sees everything. Their entire relationship unfolds before her like a movie she's already watched. First date, first kiss, proposal, wedding, the decision to have a child. And she sees Hannah, all of Hannah, every beautiful moment of her daughter's short life, every laugh, every hug, every I love you. And she sees the diagnosis, the hospital, the moment Hannah dies at 12 years old. She sees more. She sees Ian finding out the truth, that Louise always knew their daughter would die young, that she chose to have Hannah anyway without telling him. She sees the betrayal in his eyes. She sees him leave. She sees all of it, the joy and the grief, the love and the loss. She knows exactly how much it's going to hurt, and she has a choice. She can walk away from Ian right now, never start this relationship, never have Hannah, spare herself decades of pain. It would be the logical choice, wouldn't it? If you knew your child would die young, you wouldn't have that child, right? From the future, Ian's voice. If you could see your whole life from start to finish, would you change things? Louise answers, maybe I'd say what I feel more often. Then he asks, do you want to make a baby? Knowing everything, knowing Hannah will die, knowing Ian will leave, knowing the grief that's coming, Louise answers, yes. See, here's what the aliens taught humanity. It wasn't about technology or space travel. It was about this. Knowing the future doesn't mean you should change it. Because those 12 years with Hannah, those moments of pure love and joy, they're worth the lifetime of missing her that comes after. Think about what Louise is choosing. She's choosing to experience one of the worst things that can happen to a person, losing a child, with full foreknowledge. She's walking into that pain with eyes wide open. Why would anyone do that? Because here's the thing we don't often admit. We all make this choice. Every parent makes this choice. When you have a child, you know that child will eventually experience pain, heartbreak, loss. You know they might die before you. You know loving them means signing up for the possibility of devastating grief. And you have them anyway. You love them anyway. Louise just has the burden or the gift of seeing it clearly. The opening scenes come back now with new meaning. Those weren't flashbacks to a daughter she lost. They were flash-forwards to a daughter she hasn't had yet. A future she saw and consciously chose to create. This is the impossible question at the heart of Arrival. Would you choose a life knowing it contains unbearable pain? Would you choose love knowing it ends in loss? The film suggests we do this every single day. We choose connection despite knowing everything ends. We choose love despite knowing death waits. We choose life despite knowing how it concludes. Louise just makes that choice with perfect information. So she steps forward. She chooses Ian. She chooses Hannah. She chooses 12 beautiful years followed by infinite grief. Because that's what it means to be human. To love anyway. To live anyway. To say yes to the whole messy, painful, beautiful experience. The aliens didn't give humanity the ability to see the future. They gave humanity the wisdom to understand why we must embrace it anyway.